okay, I moved Octopath Traveler reviews forward. 85 is excellent, obviously. Um, I mean, the first game was excellent, so I had a hard time believing this game wouldn't be if they just kind of stuck to that formula,
which they did.
which they did. So I don't really have any. There's no surprise here from me.
Yeah, it's more of the same for the most part. The combat is basically the exact same. They added one new mechanic to the combat, which is latent powers. Each character has their own latent power, which does a specific thing for each character. Like, as an example, the Scholar, his latent power basically turns one of his AoE spells into a single target, but obviously like drastically boosts the damage of it, like for that single target.
Got
So
it.
it allows the Scholar to do more single target damage than just all AoE damage.
Right.
And the Dancers is the exact opposite. It allows her to take one of her abilities and change it from a single target into an AoE, so you can buff the entire party with one of her dances.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So stuff like that. The Thief allows her to take 2 turns in a row on one turn.
Makes sense.
The merchants just gives him 5 BP. It just refills your BP.
Oh, there you go.
Which is
That
quite
makes
good.
sense. That makes sense.
The Clerics makes all of his attacks break shields regardless of weaknesses. It just any attack you're doing breaks a shield.
Wow.
And
That's
then
good.
the Hunters and Warriors are both just like big. They're just like super attacks. Basically, they give you access to like 3 extra abilities that just do a bunch of damage. Oh, and the Apothecaries allows you to concoct without using any materials.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Other than that, they've added an additional path action for each character because there's a day-night cycle, so everyone has a daytime path action and a nighttime path action. But they all fall into one of like 4 categories, which is item acquisition, information acquisition, knocking people out, and like guiding or like making one of the townspeople follow your party.
Yeah,
basically.
So, similar to first game, similar ideas.
So yeah, there's 4 path actions for each of those like buckets. And the ones from the first game exist, like so Throne the Thief just goes around stealing everything again.
Yep.
Just like in the
Good
first
stuff.
game.
Good stuff. What should I do? Steal. Just steal everything.
Steal.
Why do you need it? Just steal. Stealing was good. Like stealing was real good.
There's just more like so basically they all fall into like one of those 4 buckets, and they also fall into like one category of like how you acquire. So there's the percentage chance one, so there's the Gamba version, which was stealing.
Yep.
There's free. There's like you can do it for free, but you have to be a certain level to be able to do it.
Okay.
Basically, so for items, the Dancers is Entreat, which is like you can just go up to someone and say like, "Hey, you can give me that because I'm pretty and I'm a dancer, so just give me your stuff."
Yeah, that's a good look too. Usually
yeah.
a good look for the dancer, just to be like, "I'm hot, give me things."
Yeah. And then there's the third version, which is you fight somebody for it. So Oswald the Scholar can mug people for their items.
The Scholar.
Yeah.
The Scholar's bullying people for items.
Yeah, he's bullying people for their items.
That seems a bit off. Like, wouldn't the Warrior do that?
He starts in prison, so.
Okay. So he's just. Oh, okay. Got it.
And then the fourth one is paying for it, like the merchant can buy
Merchant
items,
does that,
like they can in the first game.
Merchant pays. Got it.
So yeah, and all the buckets have like basically fight for it, Gamba, pay for it, or for free. So
got it. Interesting. Nothing too different, but just no.
They just added like extra ones to it.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll say that makes it annoying is just like the first game, you cannot carry around your entire party at the same time. You have to go back to the tavern and swap people out.
Yeah, that's annoying.
So that makes it annoying for path action. It makes it annoying for grinding people's levels, and also just like the first game, you cannot swap out your main character until you complete all of their chapters. So you have one character that is locked into your party, which is the person you start with.
The person you
Um,
choose to start with.
yeah.
Okay. I don't know why they. Yeah. Okay.
Again, the first game was the same way. I don't like it, but it's the way it is.
Yeah.
So that character becomes massively overleveled. At the point I am at the game, Oswald is my main character. That's the scholar. He's level 32, and the rest of my party is anywhere from 22 to 25. So
Nice. Wow. Good stuff.
yeah.
That's funny. Okay.
So some of the issues from the first game still exist. Yeah, they've varied up the structure of some of the stories, of the chapters, I should say. So not every chapter is like, okay, talk to people in town, do some path actions, dungeon boss. There are some stories that like maybe won't have a dungeon or won't have a boss. So there's some non-combat stories, which is a good thing or a bad thing. But people complained that like the chapters were too formulaic in the first game, so they varied it up a little bit.
Yep, that makes sense.
Which is fine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But the stories in general, like I think I liked the stories in the first game, but there were at least a few of them that I was like, yeah, this is boring and I don't care about it. I would say the stories in general are higher quality in this game.
Okay.
Of the stories that I'm playing, so I'm like, for most characters, I've done 2 or 3 chapters. And in this one, again, the number of chapters also varies. I think a few of the characters probably only have 4 like they do in the first game, but some have like 5 and even 6 in some cases. But there's also split paths for some of the characters. So like Throne the Thief, for example, has like split path for chapter 2. So you have chapter 2 this route and chapter 2 this route, and then she also has split path chapter 3. So you have chapter 3 this route, chapter 3 this route.
I see. Okay.
But you don't really get to choose which one you do first, because most of the time there's one that's lower level than the other one, so you're gonna do the one that's lower level first.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, it's kind of weird.
Okay. Interesting.
But again, it just changes up the structure instead of being like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for every single character.
Got it. A little bit of variation, not a bad
a little
thing.
bit of variation. And yeah, as I said, the story quality is generally higher. There is one story that I think is like, it's not bad, but it's just kind of generic and boring, and that is Ochette the Hunters. Hers is basically a MacGuffin quest, so have fun with that.
I mean, whatever. Sometimes you're like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. Other times, as long as it doesn't like happen all the time with all the characters, you don't care. One of them having that's.
The other ones are interesting or fun in one way or another, I would say. There are some quite dark ones, and that was the case in the first game. Like Primrose's in the first game was really dark.
Yes.
But there's more of that in this game, and then, like, the dancers isn't like particularly interesting, but it's just like feel good and heartwarming. Yep. So she's like, I'm a dancer and I want to be a star, so you go around like trying to be a star.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's It's not dark. It's just she's trying to be like she's trying to be that K-pop star. Okay.
Yeah.
She's trying to be a K-pop star.
And and also like the world structure is very different than the first game. It's not like the 3 circles like it was in the
first game. Yeah, it was just like
there's actually like 2 continents. There's an ocean. There's a boat that you can buy partway through the game.
To get to the other side.
Yeah. Well, there's a ferry you can pay for that'll just take you from one to the other, but at some point you can get your own ship and actually explore the ocean instead of just taking the ferry.
Got it. Okay, I see. So there's actually exploration to the ocean. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it's more Octopath. If you liked the first game, you'll like this one. It's more of the same, but it's kind of better in every way. And they've added slightly more character interaction. There are what they call crossed path stories in this one, which are there. It's like a side chapter between two of the travelers together.
Yep. Makes sense.
and the travel banter seems a little more frequent in this game, which was like the skit-ish things in the first game. They're still not voiced. I wish they would have voiced them, but anyways.
Is the game, but the other game was voiced to a certain extent.
Not the travel banter, but all of the cross
Yeah.
paths and the main story chapters are fully voiced.
Yeah. That's what I meant. Is the other
in
stuff
this
was-
game.
Yeah.
I just wish the one other thing I wished was voiced was the travel banter. I wish they would have voiced that, but other than that,
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But the voice acting is generally quite good. So,
It's nice. I mean, like as long as you get the main stuff, that's great. Travel banter kind of thing. I mean, it'd be nice, right? It'd be a bonus, but
yeah.
At least you have some.
They've added a new system where you can't get them off the bat, but you can get up to 3 licenses for each class. So like you can have multiple of the same subclass, whereas in the first game you can only have one person on each additional like subclass.
Yeah, that was a bit annoying. I will admit
Yeah.
it's a little bit annoying, but you know.
So when you pick up the extra classes in this one, you only have one, but there are ways to earn up to 3 licenses for each of the base classes, at least.
Got it.
8 base classes.
Got it. Understood. Okay. That's interesting.
So again, they've taken the first game and they've just kind of made it better in pretty much every way.
Yeah.
So if you like the first game, you will like this one. If you didn't like the first game, you probably won't like this one, unless it was like the stories that you just didn't like in the first game, but you liked everything else. Then you might like this one, because I think the stories are overall better in this
Gotcha.
one. But yeah, it's a really, really good game so far. And also apparently, again, I haven't gotten there, but apparently there is an actual like final chapter that like ties everything together, and then there was a true final boss in the first game, but it felt really tacked on and kind of
Yeah.
But in this game apparently there's more of a like overarching plot and like true final chapter / final boss that
Gotcha.
kind of all 8 stories together in some way.
In some way, yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's good.
So yeah, play Octopath 2 especially if you like the first game, I do recommend it.
Yeah. Interesting. Sorry, I'm like looking at some of the reviews for it, and I was like, okay. Like, feels too safe and familiar. I'm like, okay. Interesting take. Okay. Let me go over here. You know, I want to make a complaint.
Yep.
I want to show you this. Nintendo Direct conveniently chaptered all the games.
Oh, and State of Play didn't.
State of Play did not. Small complaints, PlayStation. Please chapter these. Because those of us that watch VODs really appreciate it. Please chapter. I would seriously appreciate it.
Especially when we do podcasts and want to scan through the
And want to scan through it.
Things.
I mean, like, to be fair, most of the stuff in the beginning when I was scanning through
VR.
it,
It's VR.
it was a lot of VR. There was Destiny, that's fine. There was you know, some other stuff that I just didn't really care for, like Naruto game here. Like, what was this one? I don't even remember what this was. I just was scanning through a lot of this. And then I got to Resident Evil, and I was like, okay, there's Resident Evil.
Yeah, Resident Evil.
Because I could see the frickin' preview on the bottom of the bar. But, you know, here's Resident Evil 4 Remake. Which looks good. Obviously looks great. Definitely an increase in quality. Glad that you can move while shooting. You know, those are the kind of things I want to see, obviously.
Love to see it.
Love to see that, you know.
Twin stick controls, modern innovation.
Modern innovations, you know. I mean, like, so far from what I've seen, game looks like definitely good. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to this.
You can't save her. You can't save anyone.
I think the main takeaways I had were obviously like the shooting controls being modernized, graphics quality looks so much better, right? Because of course But as far as I'm concerned from the rest of this, I don't really see a lot that makes me think, okay, this is going to be any sort of difference in the actual design of the game compared to the original. I think it's just improved graphics, modernized gameplay, but it's Resident Evil 4. There isn't much change to the rest of that, which is fine, perfectly fine. So they showed that off. Let's see, and then we got Suicide Squad. And Spoon, I do not like this game. This game makes me very angry.
Oh, you know what?
Do you want to know what makes me angry about it? I want you to
I do, 'cause
venture a
when
guess. Venture a guess.
Well, is it the always online thing?
No.
'Cause- No. it's
I don't
not
care
that.
about that. I know other people do, but I don't.
Time to light 'em.
I'll give you one guess. What do you think I don't like about this game?
I don't know. They're trying to make it like too hip and funny.
No,
Like-
no, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that for Suicide Squad. It's like I mean, look, Suicide Squad's a ridiculous concept in and of itself, right? It should be ridiculous, the way that you handle it. Here's what I don't like. Why does every character use guns?
Oh.
That's a giant shark. Why is a shark using guns? They should have stylized this in a way where every character uses their unique quality. Look, these are not all superhero characters or like super villains. Captain Boomerang uses a boomerang. He uses a boomerang. Why is he using guns? He uses a boomerang. His name is Captain Boomerang. Why is he using guns? That's a shark. That shark should just be meleeing and ripping people apart. Why is he using guns? I just don't get it.
What about Harley? Would Harley be like a hybrid?
Harley
She would
would-
have like
Hybrid melee shooter. Hybrid
So
melee
she-
shooter.
yeah, I imagine her with like a revolver or something, and then like her.
And then a baseball bat for melee, like
Oh.
going close to personal.
Yeah.
But the problem
Yeah.
is this game was built for guns. This game was built as a shooter. And
Yeah,
I don't like
first
that.
shooter.
I do not like this. I don't like this as the identity for this Suicide Squad game. This is a co-op shooter, and I don't like that. This should not have been a co-op shooter where everybody's flying the fuck around all the time.
Yeah, everybody has a freaking jetpack too.
Everybody
so-
has like jetpacks. They're throwing their
Yeah.
shit. They have like grappling hooks, which are apparently grappling to nothing but the sky, like Spider-Man or something.
I saw a little like drone drop
Oh, a
down on
drone.
one of them. There's like a drone that they grapple to.
Why?
But
Like,
yeah.
when has what? I'm just like watching this, and the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, what am I watching?
Yeah, it's like all those mechanics work for like Deadlock, but not any of the other. Like if Deadlock had a jetpack and a grappling hook and a bunch
Yeah,
of
I'd be
guns,
okay with
sounds
that.
Like that's Deadlock, but like all the other characters,
Look at
I don't know about
look at
that.
this.
Like
Look at this. I just give me a second on Captain Boomerang. Captain Boomerang to me is not an athlete. I want to stress this. I don't think Captain Boomerang is an athlete.
Yeah.
Captain Boomerang to me does not look like this. What is happening with Captain Boomerang here? He's like flying around like crazy. Like, I get it. It's supposed to be a fast-paced shooter game. But like, Captain Boomerang is barely using his boomerang to attack. He's using it to move around in melee. It's a boomerang.
That's gonna leave a mark.
Also, I saw the shark like fly. Like, what the fuck is that? Why does the shark have a jetpack and it has like a gun? No, that's not the shark. I'm sorry. Well, the shark at some point was like flying around, and it's like, I expect the shark to be meleeing the fuck out of this tank. That's what I expect. I expect the shark to be meleeing.
he just goes in and just like lifts up and like suplexes the tank.
That's exactly what I expect. And when I saw this chain gun thing, I was like, what are we doing, guys? Like, what are we doing here? This should have been, I think this should have been, this is okay if it's a co-op game, to be fair, but like single player, probably prefer. This should have been like Guardians of the Galaxy. I can't believe I have to bring this game up again. This should have been like Guardians of the Galaxy. This should have been just like it, where it's like a party of 4 people, and you know, if you have to fight the Justice League, that's fine, but it's a little bit more like that dynamic, where each of them has a specific set of abilities. Like Groot was more of the melee character, right? King Shark should have been the melee character here, and is like ripping people apart, like eating them, like really grotesque kind of actions. Harley Quinn is like that kind of in-between character, has like pistols and the bat. Captain Boomerang is like a range character, like that's like mid-range, like throwing the boomerang around all the time, and like has different types of boomerangs for things. And Deadlock or whatever, he's far range, like sniping, shooting everybody.
He's the sniper. He's
Right.
the sniper.
That's what I expected. I saw this and I'm like, what am I looking at? This is like, why is everybody shooting guns? This is not what I expected at all. I don't like this. This is like completely off from my expectation. I don't think the gameplay looks particularly bad by itself if you just separate my expectations from it. I don't think the gameplay looks bad or anything. I just like, if I'm playing as this shark, I want to rip things apart. This shark eats people.
Yeah.
It'll just eat them whole. And then I saw this, and I'm like, what is this? Why is it shooting a chain gun? Why is Boomerang not using boomerangs? He should have thrown a boomerang that explodes on the tank, and it should have... Or like maybe an EMP boomerang. Instead he's shooting an SMG. What? This is why I'm upset. Like, what is this? I've seen some other stuff too where people complaining about the battle pass and all that. Give me a break. Like, this guy's using shotguns and SMGs, and his name is Captain Boomerang. Can you imagine if Iceman started firing torches and pyros? You'd be like, what is happening? His name is Iceman. Why is he slinging fire? You'd be upset. You'd be confused. It's against your expectation. Can you imagine if the Hulk all of a sudden pulled out an Uzi and started blowing people away with it? You'd be like, that's the Hulk. He claps and smashes. It's just, he doesn't pull out an Uzi and say like, I'm gonna kill you with this gun.
Just give the Hulk a chain. Just give the Hulk a chain gun.
That's not what the Hulk does. That's just not what the Hulk does. So this is where my expectations were like, thrown for a loop at all.
That's a really fun analogy, because I didn't really think about it that way, even if you were talking about it. But it's like, yeah, King Shark's kind of the Hulk, and they gave the Hulk a freaking chain gun. It's
They give him a chain gun, and I'm like, this guy is strong. He is really strong. Like, King Shark is strong as fuck. He should be lifting the tank up and throwing it. That's what I want to see. So when I see the chain gun, I'm like, hold on, why is he using a chain gun? It's confusing. You know, and this is where the Guardians of the Galaxy game again, like, it made sense to me. Like, Gamora's got a sword, so she's going in and she's doing all, like, she's the damage character, she's the DPS, and she's going in with her melee sword and doing all the DPS. Like, Drax is a disruptor, he, like, bulldozes through people, he's being disruptive. He, like, just jumps on people and, like, attacks them with brutality. You know, you've got Rocket, who, like, throws, you know, uses guns and grenades. Obviously, Star-Lord shoots his guns. You know, that's a thing. That's their thing. You know? So, like, but each of them has a different weapon and mode of attack. So it makes sense. Like, that to me is why I make the comparison. This to me is like, I just think somebody walked in and said, we need a looter shooter or something kind of game that, like, we can maximize profits on with a battle pass.
It really feels like this game, like, you know, they started, well, obviously the game's been in development a while, but yeah, they started development like 4 or 5 years ago when, like, this type of game was like all the rage, and like this comes out now 4 or 5 years later and people are like, what the fuck is this? Like, we don't want this. Yeah, like,
and that's why I'm upset at this game and I'm not interested. Is it just, there's every bit of my expectation, I fully expected if I was to play Captain Boomerang to just be throwing boomerangs and, like, have, like, different types of boomerangs. it's again, I want to make one more analogy on this, and just to hammer down this point. That's like if Hawkeye, with a bow and arrow, put the bow down, pulled out a shotgun, and said, "Say hello to my little friend," and started firing. You'd be like, you already have the bow. Your weapon is there. Boomerang, like, he should have an explosive boomerang, like a disruptive, like, shock boomerang, maybe even like a weird gravity boomerang that, like, drops to the ground and pulls everybody in. By the way, all these things I'm describing, that's what Rocket Raccoon does in Guardians. And it's interesting, because, like, yeah, that makes sense. He should be using tech to do all this crazy stuff. Instead, I see Captain Boomerang pulling out a fucking Uzi.
Yep.
I'm like, huh. Actually, with Harley, like, having, like, the pistol and the bat, I didn't mind that much.
That's fine.
And the other...
It's really King Shark and Boomerang that you have a...
I have a problem with them.
Deadlock it makes sense. Having a jetpack and, like, snipers and assault rifles, like, that's what...
That makes sense.
That's what
I'm fine with all that. Those two I'm fine with.
Deadlock. It's Deathlock, isn't it? Deadlock.
It's like, I don't remember what they have in this one, because, like, there's Deadshot. There's Deadshot, Deathstroke.
Okay.
There's a lot of characters to start with D, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I have a problem with King Shark, and I have a problem with Captain Boomerang. They should not be pulling out guns. I should see no guns from them. In any way, shape, or form. I shouldn't see a gun. So that is where I was frustrated. So thank you for joining my rant. I appreciate you. And I am no longer interested in the game. I was excited at first. I was really excited. I was thinking, okay, this is exactly what I'm going to get. I'm going to play as each of these characters, and it's all going to be different. I'm going to be ripping people apart and eating them with the shark, and then I'm going to be throwing boomerangs all over the place, sniping with Deadshot, and hitting people over the head with a bat with Harley. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great time, and it's going to be just like Guardians. That's what I'm going to get. I'm going to get something just like that. And then I saw this, and I said, well, fuck me. Yes, Diablo 4's coming. Well, there's that. And I get it. Like, not everybody, like, I totally get people that don't necessarily, like, think on those lines. Like, you probably weren't thinking that way. When you looked at this, you were just seeing one thing.
Yeah. I was like, this looks, well, when I looked at this, I'm like, yeah, this looks pretty fun. This looks pretty fun,
It does.
Actually.
It does look fun. Like, it's a lot of fast-paced action. It does look fun. But when I see it, I'm like, I am coming at this from the perspective of, like, I haven't read all these comics, okay? But I've seen all these characters before in various media.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
you played Guardians.
And I played Guardians, and, like, I've seen all the pieces that should come together. Like, I've seen King Shark, and I've seen Captain Boomerang, and I know what they do. And so when I look at him, like, oh wait, why is he pulling out like why is he pulling out a submachine gun? Like, why is he doing that? Like, he should be throwing boomerangs, right? Like, that's his name. His name is Boomerang. His name is not Captain Uzi. His name is Boomerang.
Captain Boomerang.
And the other guy is the shark, and he's a giant shark. Like, he's a giant shark. Like, he should just be ripping people apart and, like, running at him and using his strength to, you know, cause just massive up close and personal damage. Like, you know, like a little bit like Hulk. That's what I expected.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that none of these guys can use a gun ever, but I feel like when everybody's using a gun, in this case,
it makes them all feel too similar.
They all look the same to me.
Yeah.
And that's my problem. They all look the same to me now. So that's my takeaway from this. And you know what? To be fair, this game now, all the videos on YouTube are getting downvoted to hell. I think this game is. I think the devs shot this game in the foot. And
I think the people didn't like what the people didn't like. Maybe some people didn't like the gameplay, but I think what people didn't like is the always online and the battle pass. People heard that and they were like, yeah, now I'm out.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. So like, the part about it being a live service is what people are upset about, and I do get that. My focus is like, none of these characters, like not none of them, sorry, like half of these characters do not look as what I expected. And that will throw me off if I play a game like this. It'll throw me off. It really will. Even in Gotham Knights, Red Hood used guns. That's what I expected from Red Hood. Red Hood uses guns. I expect that. Yes. None of the other characters used guns. Red Hood did.
Batgirl doesn't pull out an Uzi and start.
Batgirl doesn't pull out a fucking Uzi. Batgirl does the kind of the similar things that Batman did. You know, she has her own batarang and uses the tonfa, but like that's fine for me.
But she's like more quick and nimble than Batman.
She's supposed to be more quick and nimble. Her like even her flight when she goes around, you unlock it. It's just Batman's glide.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. Like for me, that was fine. That's her identity. I'm okay with that. And then I was just like, and I didn't think Gotham Knights was great by any means, by the way. And I see this game, and I'm just like, where's the boomerang? Why isn't he throwing it? Where is it? My guess is that maybe there's like some ability that uses the boomerang.
Probably.
But I think he should just be throwing the boomerang as his regular attack.
Yeah, that should be his like primary mode of attack.
I think it should just be his primary mode of attack, and you just cycle effects with the boomerang.
Different boomerangs.
Yeah, I think that's what it should be. And like King Shark, I just think he should just be hitting people over the head. I think he should just be throwing tanks at people. Like I don't like throwing big things and eating people. So anyway, yeah, that definitely frustrated me.
Yeah, pick up a piece of concrete and like use it as a shield and then like charge people and stuff like that.
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. That is what I was looking for. 100% what I was looking for, and they really focused on this the rest of the talk. I did not realize they spent the entirety of the state of play at the end doing that.
Oh yeah, they spent like 15 minutes on this game at the the end of this.
Yeah, and that's why this. By the way, this video got downloaded quite a bit because of that too. People downvoted the Suicide Squad part of it, and you can see that there are plenty of suicide comments here, like how Harley Quinn, you can use her patented guns to kill enemies, or how Boomerang uses classic guns to shoot people, or King Shark's famous guns that he uses to gun down foes, or even Deadshot's iconic guns. Okay, that one, fair enough. Again, really makes them feel fully realized as their own individual characters. Excellent design. This is me, by the way. This is probably
that's
just
exactly
me.
How you feel. Like this person just like put all of your comments in like one little.
That's how I
paragraph.
feel. And like everybody's talking about the live service, but this to me is the biggest disservice to this brand.
That's your problem.
That's my problem. So, I have nothing else to say. I've already given my thoughts. I am extremely frustrated and disappointed, and I will not be touching that game with a 10-foot pole unless it is on Game Pass, which I may very likely see this on Game Pass at some point after it releases, and I'll give it a shot then and be disappointed then.
For our co-op games, what we have coming out is Diablo 4, obviously.
Correct.
And then maybe Redfall in early May.
Yes, Redfall. I'm excited.
That game actually looked decent the last time we saw it.
Exciting.
So I'm willing to try it.
Exciting. As long
and it's on Game Pass, so I don't have to pay for it.
Exactly. I mean, like I'm very much looking forward to the co-op games that I've seen. Suicide Squad
is out.
I sadly burned it and released its ashes into the world and said goodbye, sweet prince.
Yep.
I'll miss you. Okay. I know we've gone like 2 hours already, but we do have Pokemon. Hogwarts, maybe we have to save that. Hogwarts is such a long discussion.
That's a long discussion. Also, like, I don't know.
There was a lot of other stuff too.
Hogwarts is also like, it's just been like, that game came out a month ago, so
it's been a long time. It's okay if we don't necessarily. The big conversation surrounding it is just what's happened afterwards, with not even the game itself.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with the game. The game was generally well liked by people.
Yes, that I think is something that came out of this. So here's a Pokemon Presents. This was actually recent, last week.
It was this week.
Oh, this week. I'm sorry. It's just.
Or no, it might have been.
It was Monday?
Yeah, I think it was Monday. Yeah, it was this week. It was early this week. Yeah, it was Monday. You're right. Yeah.
So I'm going to skip some of the beginning parts. We have something for the trading card game. I think
was like classic. It's a classic set.
Yeah, it's a classic set. They're doing a classic set, which I do think is a good thing. I think it's cool that they're releasing the classic set here. And I don't, but my one thing is I think that the Pokemon trading card game had its like peak at the pandemic beginning, and in kind of like that middle period of the pandemic here.
Yeah.
I think it's trailed off a bit since then, so this might be a little bit too little, too late. But we'll see. Maybe this will bring back some more popularity again in collecting for it. But I think it's cool. I think it's cool. I'd love to collect some of these classic cards again. So I think this is a good thing. They'll have to find some way to differentiate them from the original classics, so that people know. That would be something interesting to see how they necessarily differentiate.
Usually, the sets like have some sort of icon.
There's like an
on them or
icon,
something
yeah.
that shows that it's part of a particular set.
Yeah, this board is pretty cool. This like little board
Yeah,
up here is cool.
The board's cool.
I'm just gonna skip forward again. There's a Pokemon Netflix thing coming out. I think it relates to Psyduck. It's like a little.
Film and series from Asia Pacific.
Let me just.
It's a show about like a Pokemon resort. The title is really stupid. It's called like Pokemon Concierge or something
Yep.
like that. I'm like,
So it's called Pokemon Concierge, like you said. I'm gonna spoil the ending for you. This show is gonna suck. It's gonna be terrible because it's on Netflix. There, spoiled it for you. So don't watch it. It'll stink. It'll stink.
I'm
Guaranteed.
not sure I love the like claymation type art style going on with this.
Yeah,
but
that's a Netflix move. Netflix.
Yeah.
Some idiot at Netflix was like, let's make it claymation. And I'm sure somebody was like, why don't we just make it anime style like the rest of the Pokemon shows? And like, because that's cool and interesting and fun and expected. Instead, we're gonna make it claymation. I don't know. Like, Netflix does weird things. I expect this to be terrible though. So, that way, when I expect it to be terrible and it's actually mediocre, I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Pokemon Unite had
Still going.
some stuff going. I don't know how popular Unite is. I'd love to see the numbers on that. Love to see the numbers on Unite.
I mean, they keep adding content to it. It's gotta be doing something.
Yep, and then there's some of the other spin-off Pokemon spin-offs.
Cafe and
Pokemon Sleep, which look, I didn't watch this part of it, but it's called Pokemon Sleep. I don't know what to say.
It's just a sleep app. It's like, it tracks your sleep and stuff like that. I mean, these kinds of apps exist. It's a Pokemon themed one.
I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of weird. There's a Pokemon Go thing for the Pokemon Go folks, and then they talked about the Scarlet and Violet raid battles that are upon us here. I don't know how long these last. I forgot. I read it somewhere. It was like maybe like 2 weeks for the event when it starts. But it's just 2 more raid Pokemon. So for those of us that are still doing raids, I do raids still. Look forward to that. There was one other thing for the Scarlet and Violet DLC. So they had the DLCs that they talked about here. We have the Teal Mask and the Indigo Disc. Teal Mask is supposed to be releasing in fall 2023, which, by the way, it's quite far off.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that it's going to release in fall. I would have expected summer. And then winter 2023 is Indigo. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I might have seen like summer and then fall for the two DLCs, but yeah.
Maybe they're working on a pre-DLC called Improving the FPS. But I hope they do. I hope they fix it.
They've released a couple of patches that have apparently done next to nothing as far as I've heard, but like
yeah. And these are all related to the Area Zero, which I don't know if there's going to be more DLC beyond this, but I get Area Zero is an easy DLC option. I get it. Like Area Zero is primed for all the DLC. It's a really easy cop out for it. I don't know. I'm like, really? Are we going to have both of these be Area Zero DLC? But anyway, these will be coming out. I imagine it's going to be more than just like Because, like, okay, the reason why I say this is, like, the other DLCs in Sword and Shield seemed like they added areas to me.
Yeah.
Looks like they added areas.
Yeah, they did, I think.
Are these gonna... These are all Area 0, though. So it doesn't look like they're adding any areas specifically that are new. I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned. I feel like we're just gonna get a scuffed quality DLC. And everyone's gonna buy it anyway.
Well,
I'm really
obviously
concerned.
Everyone's gonna buy it. It's Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm just concerned. I hope we get to see more in the way that it's like, okay, it's not just Area 0, there's like a new section of it that you couldn't get to before. We opened it up. And it's obviously more Pokemon coming in along with these special ones. So that's my hope. My concern is like it's just this and a couple more Pokemon.
Yep.
And it's like $30.
I mean, low effort is kind of the Pokemon way at this point.
That's the slogan on the building. Game Freak, we're low effort. Low effort, high profit.
Low effort, high profit. Let's go.
But yeah, I don't have anything else to say. With these DLC. So here, oh, by the way, here's some of the Pokemon coming in. I think these are the new Pokemon coming in. I hope it's more than 6, but they're just giving some idea, I think, of the new Pokemon coming in for these.
Well,
these
knowing Game Freak, these will be the 12 that are coming.
For
and that's
fuck's
it.
sake!
That's it.
If it is, I'm gonna laugh my ass off and be like, "Oh no, are we really this low effort? There's no way."
I mean, some good choices: Milotic, Shiftry, Yanma, Ninetales, Metagross, Zebstrika, Dugong. Okay, some good choices. But
Like, there's some.
It's literally 12. I mean, I guess you probably you get the early forms of these Pokemon too, so it's more than 12. But
Like,
it's
really?
like maybe like 25 to 30 tops.
How about you just add 50? Let's add 50. If it's only these ones and they're pre-evolutions,
Probably.
I
think it's only going to be these, and
that'll
they're
be the
earlier forms.
laziest addition I think I've ever seen. I think
Again,
it'll be the laziest.
Game Freak, low effort, high profit.
It can't be just this. It better be like 50.
You are overestimating.
I
Game
really
Freak and the
am,
Pokemon
because
Company, my friend. Do you remember the game that they released and that you played? You remember how shitty it was and
It
how
is.
much you complained about
Look
it?
at this. They added like 4 uniform sets too. Like, you could have done more than 4. Give me a break. What do you mean
No, they
4?
They gotta work on the next undercooked game while they're working on this DLC.
Like, for fuck's sake, man. Like, give me a break. Like, you guys, like, you're gonna spend a year adding like 12 Pokemon per DLC, 4 uniforms. How about this? Actually, here's what I prefer. I just prefer you fix the game.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer you fix it.
They're not gonna do that.
I know. Okay. Well,